Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe, hit the notification button, be notified for our latest to the greatest episodes, as well as make sure you get in tune, get down with our Discord where we talk about everything from gaming, stocks, culture, and everything in between. I am one of the hosts on the program, Grassroots Podcast, Killabh, Brandon Hall.
I am the regular Nas, aka Vintage Series Nas.
Oh my!
I love it. I love it.
Here we go.
I'm Wylson.
I'm just Jeff.
Detroit
Jeff.
Detroit Jeff. We have a packed house today, guys. So we have Detroit Jeff. We may get some check-ins from the illustrious Tone. Civ, we never know if he talks. He's a real enigma. But we do have official guests today. We have guests today. I want to welcome to the stage Chelsea and Frank.
Hi.
So first and foremost, thank you guys for joining. You guys, I've been open about my admiration for your relationship and just you guys' dynamic. And so that's the point of bringing you guys onto the show. And then a plethora of other things that I want to talk about.
That's
First,
really cool for me to hear, like, given my history of relationships.
we're gonna get into that.
And also, like, why do I all of a sudden feel like a diorama in a museum? Like you guys are walking by, like looking at it.
100% the fish in the fish. So in pre-production, we were laughing because we obviously all have green screens and shit, and Chelsea and Frank just look like they're doing an NBC a fucking interview with the nice rug and
look like picture day back in like first and second grade.
Oh, the books. You got to put the books.
Yeah, like I feel like they could turn their screen any which way and shoot, and it would still look like a set. Is that purposely done, or is that just how you guys are giving it up in California at this point?
Well, I'm like 360 degrees old lady chic. So yeah, whichever angle you turn, it's going to be grandma up in here. But actually, and you can't see it because I'm not going to fuck up the camera right now. But right here, that pink thing, that like the sort of pink square that you see, that's actually a really gorgeous old school poster from the walls of the American Apparel corporate headquarters that I snatched before I left. And but it's like one of those classic, gorgeous, women in a bathing suit doing something crazy, not airbrushed, just amazing.
Just classic.
So that's the only thing not old lady in here. Yeah.
Everything else, the rug, the plant, everything. I love it.
I'm definitely older than my years speak for themselves. So.
Yeah, how old are you,
I feel
Frank?
like I left twice already.
Yeah, how old are you, Frank? Because that's the other thing. I know how old Chelsea is. How old are you?
I'm 32 years old, sir.
Oh, you see, yeah, this. All right. So let me.
Know that.
I didn't know that, but that's why this is why this is great. So let me give you guys context. So, we frequent on an app called Clubhouse. Well, and it's an exclusive app. You have to get invited to it. We also frequent on a show called the Go to Hell Morning Show with Ariana Foss. Shout out to her. And what'd you say?
I said I'm an Ari's angel.
Yeah. So that's the thing. I'm one of the Tan Titans. Yeah, I'm a Tan Titan.
Never heard that.
Yeah, I'm a Tan Titan. Chelsea is an angel. But upon us touching these stages together and getting to know each other, we all obviously come from different walks of life and talking. And one day I joined the show and I heard Chelsea talking, and she was talking about her experiences. Now, normally if you're on Clubhouse or just in any meeting room or a situation, you're either inundated or you're working or multitasking. But as Chelsea started to talk about her relationship and just her history and just all of her accomplishments, I was astonished. Not in a negative way, but just the accomplishments as well as the comfortability. That then went to a whole nother level when I met Frank and started to talk to Frank and Chelsea on Clubhouse and heard their dynamic. Now, also to the audience, as you just found out, just like I found out, there's a big difference between Chelsea and Frank, yet their union is one of the more beautiful things I think I've seen, just because of how transparent they are with their past, right? Like everyone has baggage, everyone has a history, everyone has done things or not been the best version of themselves. And somehow they've come together to have something that's magical where they can have super duper transparent conversations where normally I've seen that in different facets, but not like this. So I want to first start by saying that you guys honestly do give me hope in relationships and even balancing, like a media life, because Frank is in media. Chelsea has also done media and in corporate and everything else, yet you guys make it work with what I would assume would be stringent time constraints, as well as stringent maybe household things, just because you're both very much, defining yourselves and doing what you want to do. So I want to first start with, can you guys tell the story of how you guys met? Because it's fascinating, and I think it's one of the coolest stories. And Frank, this is really for you, just because a lot of people, we joke about it here. Everyone says I'm a prude and I'm all these things. If I put myself in your shoes, Frank, and being in as the stories get told, it makes me realize how cool you are. And as the audience hears this story, you guys will understand why we're having this conversation in the episode. So take it away, guys.
Yeah, I think you should probably hear the story from both of our perspectives.
Yeah, I want to hear both perspectives, because I heard Chelsea's,
like
and I heard
ways.
Yeah, and I heard a little bit of yours. But I didn't get to hear the entire thing because I think I had to jump off that day, and then we never got to catch up. So you guys take it away. Tell the story of how you guys met.
Well, who goes first? You want me to go first? Or?
You should probably go first because you kind of kicked it off. So.
Okay. I'll tell it in the briefest way possible.
Yeah.
There I am at Equinox. I was dating a couple of people. I'm long divorced, so I'm just like on the dating circuit. And I see, literally, he just catches my eye. I see him, he's doing something crazy with somebody. He's like running top speed on a treadmill, throwing a big heavy ball back and forth with somebody else who's running top speed on a treadmill, and they're in front of each other. So one is throwing backward and one is throwing, I don't even know what the hell they were doing. It just looks super crazy to me, which of course, like, that always attracts women like honey, right? When you're like doing something like that, right? That sort of testosterone filled. I don't know how else to say it, whatever. But maybe that's a generational thing. I don't know.
Swag,
it turned me on.
I gotta get more dangerous in the weight room, man.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
And I swear to God, in my 49 years on this planet, I have never hit on anyone before. So I don't know what lines to use. I'm not really sure what to do, but I'm also me. I'm super confident and I'm sort of alpha in my own right. So I didn't have a problem. I knew I was going to walk over and try to get his attention, but I wasn't really quite sure what to do. So definitely I was going to fumble that. But I immediately had this sense that he was going to be somebody in my life. I got a feeling or some sort of an energy from him. His smile, just his demeanor, I could see how he was interacting with people. It wasn't any of that, though. It was really just, I felt something about him. And so I knew that I wanted to meet him for sure. So I walked all the way across the gym floor and I said the first idiotic thing that came to my mind, which was, there could be major liability involved in what you guys were just doing. I mean, if somebody fell, there could be all sorts of lawsuits, and you really ought to be a lot more careful in here with that kind of stuff. So he was like, okay, cool. And I was like, well, I'm Chelsea. He says, well, I'm Frank. And I sort of waited around, and that was that. It was sort of awkward. So I kind of walked away, but then I saw him again the next day. And I'm nothing if not persistent. Honestly, I'm super scrappy, and we can get into kind of my background and my path later on if you want, but I'm very scrappy. So I decided to just dive right back in the next day when I saw him at Equinox again. And I walked back over and I was like, hi, do you remember me from yesterday? I'm Chelsea. And then I think everything sort of clicked in, and he was like, oh, okay. So then he took over, thank goodness, right? So now we're on the normal traditional path of he's running the thing. So he gets my number, blobbity, blobbity, blobbity. Fast forward, we go on what I think are our first 2 dates, which he I don't know. He'll tell his story. We worked out twice together. I like consider those dates because I wanted to get to my 6th date thing right away because I really wanted to have sex with him. But so I'm like 2 down, just 4 to go, or whatever. And so then he calls me after we work out twice. And he said, hey, listen, like, what other days are you free? What other nights are you free this week? Because I really want to take you out. And I'm from LA. I'm super jaded. I mean, I was born cynical, and I just like LA guys are just a whole different breed, even though he's from New York. Once you come here, you sort of adopt the whole LA thing. So I said to him, oh, I'm free Wednesday night and Saturday night. In my head going, he's not picking Saturday night. No man does that. He's going to pick Wednesday night, early cocktails, like this motherfucker, right? And instead he says, I'll take both. So I was like, I'm going to fuck him on Saturday night. That's what he's going to get a reward for this behavior. Like, this is good behavior. And then that was that. And then we were inseparable. That's from my perspective what happened. I don't know what happened.
Now before Frank starts, this is how Frank is cool, right? Because number one, and this is how me and Chelsea, because Chelsea, it reminds me of me in the sense of just being very much like, I don't have lines. I just be trying to be me. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't, right? Frank, somehow, I would have fumbled that being Frank. That's why I said Frank is a cool motherfucker to be able to be like, oh, that's what this is. All right, I got it. My dumb ass, I'll tell some stories.
I'm gonna really go into that because my perspective of the story is really from that perspective. Okay. Because you gotta remember, like, I'm from Mount Vernon. I'm from the Bronx. Like,
hold on, Frank.
Frank. Frank.
God,
you knew this was something. Once he dropped money earning Mount Vernon, baby, I should go switch my hats. I should go switch. I'll ride with Frank anywhere now.
Are you from Mount Vernon?
Yeah. Yes, that was the spot.
Yeah, we talk blocks and all that later. But
Go ahead, Frank. I'll apologize, Frank. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, no. But I moved out here. It was like another thing. We talk about like the entrepreneur stuff and all that. But I took a leap of faith and in my business and all that, and moved out to LA. Wanted to pursue my fitness career, my health, fitness business, and so I get a job at Equinox, right? And for trainers out there, that's kind of like making it to the league in a sense, like what I mean? Like, you would train at Equinox, you the shit. You know what I'm saying? So I get there, and mind you, orientation, they prep you the whole thing. Like, yo, you're gonna be around some people. Keep it cool. So they're like, keep it cool. When you in there, you keep it cool. And the moment that you don't keep it cool, you out of here.
Yep.
Right? So I'm like, all right, cool. Cool. You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm from New York. We cool. Like, you know what I mean? So fast forward now, situation, Chelsea comes about, right? Now
I'm a member, right?
She's a member,
right?
She's a member. I'm a trainer, right? I'm with one of my homies. We doing, like she said, we going crazy on the treadmills, throwing medicine balls back and forth to one, right? But all I know, and mind you, I don't know True Religion, American Apparel. I don't know none of that, right? I just know that this is this older white lady coming to talk to me. Yeah, like, okay. I'm not stupid. Like, I just knew there was this older white lady coming to talk to me right now, and keep it cool. Right? So the first couple interactions we had were literally just me keeping it cool. Like, she's just talking, we having casual conversation, not knowing that, like, I'm thinking I'm just like, trying to build my business up, trying to make connects, like, what it is. But after like the third interaction we had with one another, that's when when it clicked, I was just like, oh nah, she's feeling it. Like, I'm like, oh, all right. So then that's when everything got kicked off. We exchanged phone numbers and we started going out. And then she started talking about the date thing is a funny thing because we've been like, it's an ongoing debate like to this day, right?
All right, so you tell me your perspective. Were these dates, Frank, or were you just trying to just hang out and Chelsea had a whole other agenda? What do you tell me?
All right, so again, like, we New York, right? Like, we know. Like,
yeah, let's talk.
So the first two, like, they were hangouts. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, you feeling somebody out. Like, you're like, oh, look, let's go for a hike. Let's go for a run. Or let's go take the Soul Cycle class and go do all that. Or let's.
He only did that because I bullied him into like men don't really do Soul Cycle, but I was like, let's take this 5 a.m. Soul Cycle class. He was like, okay, but anyways,
and I was with it. And I was with it.
Guy. Yeah.
I was with it. So we did all that, but to me, it wasn't like our first date was to me when I was just like, yo, I want to take you out. I want to do this and that. I'm gonna, you know what I mean? Bring out the spoils and all that, right?
When you actually go, like you go in a ham, not just casual
right?
shit.
Not the casuals, but she counted the casuals as the dates too. So to me, like to this ongoing day, I'm just like, yo, casuals don't count as dates. Like
it was 2 years. It was 2 years benefit though, because we went through the cycle a lot quicker than it normally does.
Whatever works. It worked out in my benefit. So.
Yeah. But everything you see right now with Frank, like the smiling and the authentic, like that is Frank 100%. And that's why like it hit me so quickly. Like I would watch him walk around the gym before we even really went out those first couple of times. And just, he smiles all the time. He's constantly smiling, you know, and which is just, which is like, I needed that a lot.
Yeah.
You know, so it went really quickly.
So that's the thing. So that's what led me here. So first and foremost, yes, Nas is from Mount Vernon. That was my little surprise. You guys will have your little Mount Vernon reunion at some
Mount
point.
Vernon's everywhere, baby.
Oh,
you like roaches, man.
Yeah. Like word. So I wanted to talk about just the dynamic. You both are super accomplished. How do you balance it all? Like, we all are in our own situations, dating, married, single, yet you guys are in two different worlds of sorts, and somehow you guys make it work. It doesn't seem to be any friction at times, which I'm sure there is. That's a relationship, right? But you guys are just comfortable in your own skins, even given your own past experiences. What steps did you take to first, I guess, get on an even playing field emotionally and from a communication standpoint? And then what was the moment where you realized, oh no, this feeling wasn't just a one night stand, or hey, I was attracted, or no, this is a serious thing. Like, we're doing this.
Oh, well, I can actually answer that question.
And not the sex part. I mean, the relationship.
No, not the sex part. This is such a trivial thing, but I swear to God, this is where it clicked for me. I was like, I'm a terrible cook, but I have to cook. I've been divorced for years, like I said, so I was a single mom to both of my kids. My kids are 18 and 16 now, but I mean, I pretty much raised them on my own since they were 5 and 3. And, you know, like your kids have to eat, but they've never liked my cooking. Nobody should like my cooking. And so their main complaint is always like, why, like you put so much butter on things that like I can still see the white of the butter. Like that's gross.
Oh my God.
Like not enough butter, like not so much butter. It should melt right in, and like I don't want to see the butter. So that's been like a huge household battle from day one.
Oh, mind you, her kids are half black.
They are. But what does that have to do with butter?
A lot. Like
yeah, it really does. It really does.
Okay. So anyways, was that the white part or the black part that didn't want the butter to show? Okay, well, here's the end of the story. Here's the end of the story. So then Frank, the first time I ever really made anything for him, I think it was like just a bagel, like a cinnamon raisin bagel, which is a whole other debate, by the way. Like cinnamon raisin bagels shouldn't exist, but a lot of people like them. So that's a whole other thing. But anyways, yeah, I made him this cinnamon raisin bagel and I slathered on the butter like I always do and handed him it. And then I was kind of embarrassed because it was sort of trashy. I was like, sorry, like, let me get the butter more melted in or I'll take some of the butter off, you know? And he's like, well, why? And I said, well, because my kids don't like it when the butter shows. So you might be the same way. And he said, well, if you can't see it, like, how do I know you put the butter on? I mean, you know, and he totally understood. That's why I do it that way. So, you know, I loved you. I put all the butter on.
Yeah.
And right then it clicked. I was like, oh, I fucking love this guy. This guy gets me to the core. I know that sounds so trivial, but
it's the little things that count.
It's the little things.
I never told him.
That's the first time I ever heard that, but yeah, it kind of.
Oh, like, this your first time hearing that, Frank?
Yeah, I never heard it.
It's fucking awesome. Yes, we're learning that shit today.
I've never.
Yeah, I've never actually heard her say that.
Nobody's ever asked me that question before. When did it click for me? But right then it clicked for me. Like, and I know it sounds so crazy. That's such a trivial story, but it was just, he really got me. Here's somebody from a completely different place who, and a totally different, the age gap is so crazy, 49 to 32 at this point, I mean, that's just insane. But I mean, the way that he gets me, I feel so automatically comfortable with him. And I'm a total ambivert, right? I'm an introvert with extraordinarily well-faked extrovert skills. So I charge alone. I get drained outside. That's why this whole thing has been kind of rejuvenating for me, this whole inside thing. But with Frank, like, I don't know how else to say this, so it's not going to sound right, but I'm alone when I'm with Frank. Like, he's just a part of me.
I get it.
That's, what I'm saying? Like,
I get it.
I'm so comfortable with him. I was so automatically comfortable with him. And so what made it work from the beginning was that we constantly have conversations about our dynamic and our logistics and what's the next move going to be? What's the next 5 moves going to be? And how am I going to react? And so how are you going to react to that, and make me feel comfortable? We constantly have those conversations, but different from other relationships, it's not intense or work. It's just us freely having constant check-ins with each other and conversations, I mean, so I don't know, I guess it's communication, that's the really long way of saying it, but really organic, comfortable conversation. It's not a fight. It doesn't feel like I needed to plan it or we need to talk and have a seat and talk. It's just constant free flow of that stuff, and when we've had tension, it's when that's broken down, but that's, I don't know. How about, what do you think?
Well, damn.
Sorry.
No.
I've been known to suck a lot of air out of a room, so sorry, babe.
No.
Yeah.
No, that was good. That was a lot.
That actually, it was good. What do you think, Frank? Actually, not to cut you off, Frank, how does that make you feel hearing that for the first time? And I don't want to get all Dr. Phil and shit because I want to get into other things. But the reason why I say that, because not being there, obviously, that made me feel good, meaning because it made you feel good. Does that make sense? Like, I saw the way you looked at Chelsea, like,
I was like,
shit.
Yeah, like
the butter did all right. You know what I mean? Like,
it was more so that she said that, and it's the first time I heard it, but it's also like very true. Like, it's kind of like the incumbents of our relationship is kind of like we can almost like think for one another. Like we speak for one another. Like, we can kind of like, and honestly, for me, that's when I knew it clicked. Like, you know what I mean? I never had that with a woman before. Like, I never had, like, more times than not, you're in relationships and it's like, really, and even for like relationships that ended and they weren't necessarily bad, but you never really felt connected with that person. You never really felt
weren't on the same page.
Yeah, or on the same page, or just in the same trajectory, or of just like ambition of life, or just anything. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, and when I realized that I had like my partner, that's when it really like clicked. You know, it wasn't just like, all right, here's this a woman that I'm dating, or now eventually I'm like married, or like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you felt it.
It became a partnership.
Yeah, that's dope.
And that's when it was just like, all right, like, this is like, I guess this is what everyone, and there's another debate me and her have, like, what's love, or what like in love means and all other shit. But for me, and my definition of it is like, when you find that person that can be like the representative of you when you're not around.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Wow.
That's dope. That's a dope
like,
definition.
Right.
That is a powerful, that may be the most powerful way I've ever heard someone explain love.
Yeah. So, and as far as I want to be represented in life and what I want to be for people to see out of me, you know, she encompasses all those things. And it's, you know, and it's weird in a sense, because it's like, you know, like you brought up before, like our age difference and like our just dynamics, and like she grew up in LA, I grew up in New York. Like,
yeah, like, but even that, if I'm being honest with the age, I would have never even thought that, just because you both, every time, even in pictures, like, even though, you know, pictures are staged and all that shit, it never looks fake. Even when you guys talk, even when you guys are just kicking it, like even when we kicked it over the phone, like it's always just, it just it's just real to me. You know what I'm saying? So I could get how when you say that, but again, say that again, what you said about love, that shit was a powerful statement. For real.
Like literally though, it's like you want to have that person that's the representation of you when you're not around. Like, so I don't have to be in a room for anyone to know me. So that's why I think that's why you, Ariana, like say all you guys kind of like gravitate to me, is just because it's like whether I'm in Clubhouse or not, like I'm there because she's there.
Mm-hmm.
So I never feel compelled to even have to be there because whatever I'm gonna say, she's gonna say.
Mm-hmm.
So
well, that was the one thing that I gathered from you guys, that the story swapping that they had, their previous experiences, good, bad, and different, the ugly times, the crazy times. Like you guys tell fucking crazy stories, but that was great. I don't, because I know how I could talk too, like Chelsea. So I want to give the floor to Wylson, Wayne, or anyone else that has any sort of relationship questions. And the reason I'm doing this is because I feel like, as me and my guys, we're getting older and we're doing more work, it's becoming more and more difficult to maintain or keep work-life balance. And somehow you two have figured it out. And coupling that in with mental health, coupling that in with self-awareness and things like that, I feel like us as a whole, like as a unit, we've all been through stuff. So I want to give you guys the floor to ask some questions too, because
I was gonna say, but I can tell you, I mean, sorry, and I'd love to hear your questions, but I mean, just on that point of work-life balance,
I don't think we have it all figured out.
We don't, but also it's not that it's so easy for us or whatever. I mean, you have to remember and give yourself some grace. We are at sort of opposite ends of the spectrum in terms of our career paths. I mean, I came through it already. Oh, by the way, I am early divorced. I was married to my first husband for 7-8 years, whatever it was, but we got divorced in the throes of the craziest part of my career path. We got divorced during my lap year when I was up for partner at my law firm. I'm a recovering lawyer. So I was a partner at the biggest law firm in the world for a couple of decades. I ran mergers and acquisitions. So I just bought and sold companies. And I mean, it was the year that I was up for partner that I initiated my divorce. So because we were both younger, staring down the barrel of a gun in terms of what the next few years of each of our careers was going to look like, super intense. Got divorced, then went through, if you can believe, in an even more intense period of my life when I was the CEO of American Apparel and then the CEO of True Religion. So, I mean, I got all of that, and some of that overlapped with Frank, but most of that was before, right? And so now I wouldn't say I'm retired. I would say I'm sort of semi-retirement in a sense. I sit on public company boards for a living. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm an executive in residence with a pre-IPO stage MarTech company. Like I do things that don't take up my full time, and I've established myself. And I'm not flexing. I don't mean that that's not an egotistical statement.
Yeah, you'd be home.
My reputation out there. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so I've done that. So that part of building capital in my career path is over. So to be fair, if I was, and he's doing that, you know, he's building a huge company. He's building it bi-coastally. I mean, it's, you know, there's a lot going on. He's got a lot of people working for him. There's a lot of, plates that he has spinning. If we were both at it at the same time right now, to be fair, it would be,
wouldn't be so smooth.
I was divorced early from doing that already. Right. So, I mean, sometimes it's a timing thing, you know? Yeah,
it really is. Like, I was going to say, I don't think we really have it all figured out because like I'm still learning shit on the fly. Like I'm still learning how to like run a business, how to do it bi-coastally, like she's saying. Like I'm in New York every weekend.
Mm-hmm. That's a recent thing, right. And you cannot imagine the conversations we've had about that.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So
yeah, I can only imagine. I can only imagine. I mean, again, I'm a tour kid, so I've dealt with my fair share of what's happening, where are you, or you know, damn, you're away again. Like I thought we'd be able to do something.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, we actually worked it out, so actually it's fine. But yeah, I mean, that took a lot of planning.
It takes a lot of patience and really, to her credit, a lot of understanding. Is because I don't think a lot of women in her position would, I mean, they wouldn't, because I've been in those relationships already. So they wouldn't understand like the life of someone who's travels for work and has bigger vision and bigger dreams of what he's doing currently at the moment.
Yeah.
So to her credit, a lot of understanding goes into it, a lot of communication, which I'm not the best at. So
that was gonna be my question. Who's the communicator? I'm realizing in relationships that there has to be one person that will push for the communication. There's always a shutdowner, and then there's always the one person in a relationship that is not the shutdowner, meaning like you completely shut down, but you push through. So I'm assuming Chelsea is the one, because Frank is like, yeah, she's the one. She's the one.
It's not that he shuts down.
I pick and choose the times when I open up.
That's right. And sometimes it's not always the most convenient times. Then I'm there, so I'm like, Frank wants to talk, and so I'm like, kind of about it. Like everything else has to be on hold right now because I want to hear what he has to say. Because whatever he says, it's been rattling around in his brain like a marble. And, like you definitely want to hear what it is because he doesn't just say stuff without thinking about it first. Whereas I'll just start talking real time, and so that's why my point of view might change in the course of a conversation, because I'm giving it all to you real time. So it's not, he doesn't shut down. I think he just, a lot of times he assumes, like harken back to the earlier part of this conversation, he assumes I know exactly what's in his brain. And I can't possibly know that,
Got it.
But he'll say things sometimes where I'm like, damn, oh my gosh, that's how you feel about that? I could have never guessed that was your perspective on that,
A lot of that happens when we talk about music.
That's true.
When we talk about music, she'd be like, wait, you heard that? And I'm like, yeah.
In the lyrics or whatever.
I'm like, that's what I heard. What'd you hear?
Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to deviate us off the path.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
Man, with all this talk about love, it's got me thinking about my failing love life in the midst of this pandemic. And how
not smile and laugh when you said that.
No. I mean, it's true. And how crucial like dating apps have been. Chelsea, I see that you're on the board for Spark Networks that deals with like dating apps and everything, right? You think people's perspectives are starting to change on dating apps? Like they're more so essential as opposed to just a way to find a hookup?
You cannot imagine how much better we did in 2020 than in previous years. So yes, it's on the board of this public company called Spark Networks. We're traded on the New York Stock Exchange. Our ticker is LOVE for obvious reasons because we own a bunch of the big dating apps. And you just, people are, you can track a lot of the activity and you can sort of see what people are on there for. And as a lot of you guys might know, or folks out there listening to this who are in retail, the cost to acquire a customer for the first time is really high. So the first time or the only time customer is not really the best customer. You want repeat business, right? That's when the cost reduces almost down to zero and you're just making gravy off of that customer. That's what's been happening on our apps, ever since the pandemic hit. People are just constantly returning. So they're not necessarily returning because the date they went on or whoever they were hooked up with on the app didn't work out. They just like the interaction. It's a lot more about this new space, kind of social interaction, and you see it on a lot of the apps that are developing so-called like friend parts of the app or business networking parts of the app. People are just getting on there to have some sort of interaction.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely right. The stigma of meeting somebody online almost completely dropped away during the course of the pandemic because where are you supposed to meet somebody if nobody's outside? Two, there was some judgment. It's dripping away a little bit now, but there was some judgment in terms of, oh, you actually did meet somebody outside? Like, how did you meet someone in person? Why were you outside? Was your mask on? Did you go on a date? Like, did you have sex with that person? I mean, there's been a lot of judgment in terms of face-to-face interactions, which is starting to ebb a little bit now that things are opening up a bit. But that was all just fantastic for the dating app world in particular, which is why you saw Bumble just go through an incredible IPO, I mean, just an absolutely astonishing IPO, and their levels have really held. So it's been phenomenal. And I think that the other thing that's good so putting aside the business side of it, but good for people like you, if you're on the app, is that because it's become so much more popular and accepted, the thing that makes a dating app successful for the users is happening in abundance right now, which is a ton more people are flocking to all of the apps.
Yeah.
And you have to know that across board, and of course we talk to the folks at the other dating app companies, there's hardly any users of these apps that just go to one. If they're going to go to one, they go to all.
You have to have them.
Like they want to broaden their choices. So now there's like so many more, exponentially more people on these things, and that gives people who use it a much better shot at finding the person or the person for right now, you know?
Yeah. It's funny how at each app you can find a different kind of person too.
Oh, yeah.
Like I've been on a bunch of them. I've
the flavors, the assortments.
yeah, exactly. But I remember before like the pandemic, like if you told someone that you were on like a dating app, they would look at you like you have an OnlyFans page. Like,
yeah, can I be honest with you
they
guys?
just all think the worst.
I was that person, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
I'm gonna be transparent. So for me with dating apps, I've never been on a dating app. I've never used it. I've seen them. But I know a lot of people that use these dating apps just to have sexual intercourse with people. And I know, shocker, right? And so the thing is, a lot of my experiences with them are third-party experiences, meaning like they'll be like, oh, I like this person, or I like this guy, or this girl, or whatever the case may be. And then they take it serious. And then they get hurt. And then, you know what I mean? Like, I think my problem that I had with dating apps, which I still kind of do have when being transparent, is just that the filter, because people do go on these apps trying to find love, trying to look for companionship, where the agenda is a little different on the other end, and it hurts people. Transparently, you know what I'm saying? Like I've seen people really get hurt by it, where they go, been talking to these people for X amount of time, and I really like this guy. I've been talking to him for so long. It's like, oh, I went out on a date with him. It's great, blah 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 blah. And then come to find out, there was an ulterior motive. Never hear from the person again. You know what I mean? So it's those experiences where I've heard those experiences more so than the positive ones for me. Have I heard the positive ones where people have fallen in love and and lived happily ever after? Yeah, I know a couple right now met similar to you guys, but they purposely met at a club, first time ever meeting. They kissed that night, and she's been with him ever since. Will never be without him. She said she deleted the app. She said she has no use for it. She said it served its purpose, and that was it. So I do think it's possible. I'm trying to not be as closed-minded, I think, to it as I once was, but it's still not my thing.
Heartbreak happens in the real world. I mean, you can meet somebody and think that you're dating, and then they ghost. I mean, that's not just an LA thing. You guys have the ghost out there, right?
Yeah.
Ghost is male and female. I mean, that definitely happens. Or you find out you got used, or whatever. Shit doesn't work out. They don't know how to tell you, so they just disappear. I mean, it happens all the time. People have one-night stands, and somebody gets more attached than the other. So. Mm-hmm. I don't know if we can necessarily put that in the dating app. And I'm not defending dating apps. I've also never used a dating app, Mm-hmm. They didn't put me on that board because of my experience in that industry. They put me on for a whole bunch of different reasons.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so I don't know if that's specific to dating apps, because it's just.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I don't know if it's specific to dating apps, but just, I guess the percentage, but now I guess, and that's what I'm so much like you in that sense, Chelsea, because I can have that stance right now, or I've had that stance, but as I filter it through and start to think about it in real time, I could get the benefits of it. I just would never do it, honestly.
I see the future in dating apps, apps
for real?
At this level right now.
Yeah.
I'm never.
Not your future.
Not my future.
Watch your words, Frank. Watch your words. I'm about to say, Frank, be careful that it's
how
still
I'm about to say it. Let me be careful with my words. But like business-wise, I see the future in dating apps because, as we've seen last year, like we've been prepped to stay inside. Mm-hmm. And we've been prepped to be comfortable with the idea of a digital world now. So dating is going to become digital in a sense, like, you know what I mean? And we kind of got the seasoning of it with the dating apps, and we're used to interacting and meeting people. Like we have apps like Clubhouse now. We could literally just like get in rooms and a group of us can talk, and like Zoom's had the biggest couple years of its like since inception, you know what I mean?
Clubhouse almost is a dating app for some people.
I mean, all of them are Instagram's a dating app. So it's like
everything's a dating app.
Right,
if it's got a messaging application, it's a dating app.
Yeah.
100%.
As long as you're able to get a community of people in one place for a lengthy amount of time, it can be a dating app. So the future of dating apps is going to be crazier than what it is now once we start getting into AR and VR technology.
That's interesting.
Yeah, you know, like when we
I didn't even think about that.
Get into like
Me neither.
these
cool.
decentralized like virtual worlds and shit like that. Like, I mean, I'm
We're
talking
getting
crazy.
into his favorite topic now.
Yeah.
Yo, and this is why I want to talk to Frank, because I didn't even think about that shit, Frank. Listen, I believe in Skynet. Okay, so I'm hearing what you're saying. So we're clear. I believe in Skynet, yo. I'm serious. We talk about it on this. Listen,
I like the idea of Skynet. You guys are probably scared of it.
Yeah, I'm a full believer in all like what we're gonna be in like 3010 or whatever. What this world's gonna look like. Like I'm a full believer in that, and I'm like dating app just gonna be like the beginning. I hope I'm here. I'm gonna try to preserve myself for that. You're gonna see Robo Frank walking around.
Would it be you?
Yeah.
Would it be you if you free?
The essence of Frank.
I mean, who knows? Like, would it be me? Would it not be
Actually,
me? I don't know, but
you guys want to know something crazy? I'm on the advisory board of an AI company called Inheritance, which was founded by the CTO of SpaceX. So he's like with Elon and all of those people, right? And that company eventually is developing AI technology where they are going to, I'm going to say this in a way that isn't specifically true, but this is the concept. They will capture your soul. Not really, of course, but through collection of all sorts of data, information, the way you are on camera, you know, interviews, whatever, they'll collect a bunch of data over the course of your life, be able to build an avatar that is AI backed, that responds not just to pre-planned questions, but can actually just have an organic, fluid conversation with you and can answer questions, guessing intelligently the way that you would have answered those questions or had that conversation in life after you're dead.
Do they have something like that in Korea? I've seen something like that in Korea, in South Korea.
Definitely some competitors. Yeah, there's some competitors nipping at their heels. For sure, there's like 2 or 3 in the space.
Right.
Anyway, sorry, but that's called Inheritance. So it's not far off that you could walk in and have a conversation with an avatar with your great grandfather long after he's gone and just be like, yo, like I'm having this issue and I saw that you were in this particular business. Like, how would you guys have handled this back in your day? You know, and he can give you some insight into historical perspective that might play into how you want to handle the issue now or
that'd be dope.
Whatever.
I think in certain situations it could be too soon. Like you gotta leave some time to grieve.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if your parent like just passes away and then all of a sudden the AI comes walking through during the funeral, like
that's like Pet Cemetery, but
too much.
Like, yeah, we're not doing Pet Cemetery, grandfather.
Honestly, when she like first put me onto it, it sounded crazy because I was just like, yo, how the hell are you gonna have like? I immediately think of like, yo, we're gonna have George Washington coming back and he could like tell us like what was really going on in like 1870 something. Like, is he really gonna come clean about what he was doing back then? Like,
so, but what if you could talk to Malcolm X and say, what do you think about what's going on right now? And do you have any words of wisdom? Or
I kind of have an idea what Malcolm X would think.
Yeah.
I mean, if they do these AIs, I just hope that they make them with no strength, or else we're in trouble. If they could hurt us physically,
but if you're doing celebrities, who's getting paid? Where the rights at for those images?
Yeah, the person, and he is working with a couple of celebrities, and I just can't remember if it's publicly disclosed yet or not, so I'm not going to say who. But the celebrities pay for it. It's a service / product, so that's how the company generates revenue and ultimately profit. But then the person themselves owns that. They bought that. They bought that service / product. So they own that. They own those rights. They're not giving away the rights to their lives. Now, questionable, right? Like if you're able to build this, and you wouldn't be able to because of the way the technology is built. But if you were building it for a George Washington, right? Is that in the public domain? Do his descendants own that? I don't know. I mean, that's a whole other conversation. But yeah, right now, this is very much a consumer good or service. So whoever buys it owns it.
Yeah, not to cut you off, Nas, because I know you're gonna say something. I just have a quick question. Y'all don't get scared about that stuff? Like I get freaked out about like the mechanical sex dolls that they're coming out with. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like,
you wasn't expecting that one, were you?
I know that that's an extreme, but my crazy ass, I think, what happens if that fucking doll wakes up? Like, you know what I'm saying? It just, I like
Westworld.
iRobot.
Westworld.
What is that?
It'll be Westworld out here.
Your sex doll wakes up in the morning, goes through your iPhone. That should be crazy.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you now have to defend whether you're cheating or not to a robot. Like, think about that.
Are they that good? Are they that? I thought they were just like rubbery.
They don't talk back. They're that good.
They don't.
They're that good. Exactly.
No, to me, the biggest concern is that society's emasculating men nowadays. This is giving men an option to have women without women, which eventually gets into the whole population issue. Because, well, if men stop procreating with women because they have these real life sex dolls that they have one-time investments on, I don't know. It's a slippery slope.
Yeah. And truth be told,
We're already on the slope.
They're
going to make it illegal.
This is male and female, okay, but this is definitely a thing on both sides. If you rely on like yourself too much for sexual pleasure, whether it's with a toy or just yourself, it will be very difficult for you when you step back into human to human sexual interaction. It just is like, it is definitely a thing. That's why they tell women not to like rely too much on vibrators. I mean, we're not getting into this conversation, but and that same thing, right? So it does. You're absolutely
like
right.
Porn addiction, like all those things, like they taint like your livelihood in a sense, like.
But I think everyone at some point in their lives rather, was addicted to porn. Like, and the only reason I say that is just because naturally and innately we're all sexual beings. You know what I mean? Like, you can't tell me that you don't watch a scene in a movie or something, and you may briefly get turned on or even aroused, but then you snap back to reality. But it happens. You know what I mean?
I think addiction to porn would be something completely different, to where in real life your experiences with someone one-on-one isn't enough, because it's not the extreme that the porn is.
Right.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, I get what you're
Don John.
Wait, what happened? What's the movie?
Don John. It was the movie. I forget the dude that was in it. You seen it, right?
Yeah.
It had that dude, but it had Scarlett Johansson in it. And the dude was dating. He had a porn addiction or whatever, but he was dating Scarlett Johansson. So every like time that they would go out on a date or whatever, they would come back, have sex or whatever. Then he would sneak out the room, go into the bathroom, go watch porn, and go get another nut off. And he was doing that throughout the whole
You said nut on air just now. I just want
it's okay. No, it's okay. It's okay. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. But
Justin Gordon-Levitt.
He would go get his go to the bathroom, do his thing, and eventually she caught on to what he was doing at the end of the movie, and then she broke up with him. But the moral of the end of the movie was the porn, like he went to rehab at the end and all of this is like the porn addiction was affecting his life.
Which is funny
lost his
because
job, lost all that.
Years later, ScarJo was in that movie Her with Joaquin Phoenix. Where she was a disembodied AI woman, however she identified. I think she eventually identified as all of humanity, but interesting how it all comes
full circle.
It definitely comes full circle. It's Skynet. Listen, don't get me talking about Skynet, aliens, ghosts. I could tell y'all some shit. Like, I believe in it. I've had my own experiences. I don't care if anyone thinks I'm crazy. These guys, again, we've been through a lot. They've seen some pictures and things.
We've seen your proof.
Yeah, like for real. So, and I was, and this was only maybe in recent years, maybe 6-7 years, I was very much the person that was like, none of this shit's real. I don't believe in aliens. I don't believe in ghosts. I don't believe in no. I don't think like that anymore.
I got a better question for you. Do you think you're an alien?
Yo, all right. So if we're gonna get into it, all right. If we're gonna get into this shit, right? Man, how much time do you guys have?
Braden's triggered.
Yeah, I'm triggered. All right. So listen.
I'm cooking.
Yeah, you're cooking, cracking.
You put the X Files, right Civ, put the X Files behind Brandon right now.
All right, we're going here. Fucking, I knew Frank would do this. All right, so look, if I'm being honest, if I'm being super honest, and to the audience, to the viewership, to the listeners, what I'm gonna say is very, very high level. Some of you may not get this. I'm assuming a lot of you will get it though. Mm-hmm. I honestly think, starting with this pandemic, that it's a do-over. Meaning, I feel like the world did something purposely. I feel like we were and not even from a presidential standpoint, anything like that. I'm just saying leading up to everything. I feel like it's a huge reset for us. I feel like we're living our second lives where we're being given an opportunity to really, I guess, be our true authentic selves. So the lives that we lived in the past, meaning 2020 or whatever, those were your experiences, right? Like you're supposed to. I kind of feel like this is some form of reincarnation, if that makes sense. And I know that sounds crazy, but a lot of the experiences, at least that I've experienced, I thought that they were deja vu moments, and they're not. Like a lot of the even the way I think, and even I have a newfound appreciation for life, people, love. Like we've never had this kind of talk on our show. That's what I'm saying. Like even just this, I want people to hear. I want people to hear.
You gotta stop that, Jeff. You gotta stop that, Jeff. You gotta do rights to that.
He was digging.
I think
he was like, hold on.
I know that sounds crazy.
But Brandon, are you an alien? That's what Frank wanted to know.
So I'm leading to my point. I don't think that it's a coincidence that we're seeing more and more extracurricular activities in the world. Like there's more
extraterrestrial.
No, but I'm saying
I wasn't going to do it. Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah, sorry, but you guys know what I mean.
I sit on the board of the English Literature Department at UCLA, so I am the arbiter of words. But I was like, I'm not going to do that here.
And that's
Chelsea, you can do that here. I let him know.
I kill words. I'm the typo king.
I hate that.
Me too, bro. And imagine living with her.
And I have a fucking lisp, so I have a lot of problems I have to worry about.
I gotta gap my teeth, bro. Like, imagine being with her.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I fuck with you, Frank.
Don't text the letter U. Spell it out.
Well, no, I don't do that. That's a cardinal sin.
No, I feel like you.
Oh, come on, man.
I have so many like that.
You know how much faster you can type without them 2 letters, bro?
When should you get an apostrophe for it's? You know, when should you get an apostrophe? When is it the there versus the there? I mean, just so many things like that. So
I said this year I was going to make a conscious effort to really pay attention to that, because I'm educated, but I really don't care much. Like Frank, I'm just trying to get to it. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm my brain is going 1,000 miles per minute, but I do realize that it matters.
Well, it matters because until the world is completely turned upside down, and one day I hope that it is, there are still decision makers. You know, there are still people that have control over your path to a certain extent. If you want to get into a particular room, you want to get into the boardroom, right? If you want to go run a big public company, whatever. I mean, there's still a room where it happens, and there's gatekeepers to that room. And those people have perfect grammar, punctuation, and pronunciation.
Yeah.
Period. They just do, unfortunately. Now, there could be a day when verbiage changes, and that's not going to so much matter, because we all understand exactly what you were saying in the moment when you said that. But right now, there's still some arbiters up there, you know, and it's just the way of the world. If you want to get into those rooms, if you don't want to get into those rooms, it really doesn't matter, you know.
Right.
But they're still looking and judging, and it doesn't matter what's on trend or who's gaining popularity or power or whatever. They're still like, but they cannot write a great memo.
Yeah, that matters. So I want to answer 2 questions. So first, I do believe in aliens. I think we are walking around a few people that are aliens. Honestly, I do think that, especially since the government, past year came out and said, yeah, there's aliens. Yeah, we've been testing certain things. The fact that the government, which has been so tight-lipped about any of these sort of secrecies, when you think of Area 51 and I don't know if you guys ever watched that Bob Lazar documentary, but that's another good documentary just for, if you're into that kind of stuff. But I don't think there's any secret or I think now it's to the point where there's so many things happening where the government has to start making us aware. And so to answer your question, Frank, I would not be surprised if they start to say, well, look, hey guys, there are I would not be surprised at this point. Like, I never even thought that
there aren't. The universe is huge. Maybe not in our galaxy, right?
Yeah,
like that. But in the
universe, in our galaxy, I've never been one of those people to be like arrogant or ignorant enough to say like we're the only things walking around here.
Yeah. No. I don't believe
the government did say that they have vehicles that were not made on this planet.
Mm-hmm.
So
allegedly,
that's pretty much disclosure.
I've been reading that wasn't made on this planet.
Okay, so 2 movies. If you guys haven't seen them, see Contact, a really old movie with Jodie Foster. So good. And then one of my favorite movies. He hates it. I don't know why, and it didn't get great reviews. Interstellar. Yo,
you don't like Interstellar?
He doesn't fuck with it. He doesn't like talking. He likes action.
Oh, yo, nah, man. Frank, please. Please, Frank, listen, bro. Go watch Interstellar. Go watch it again. This is right up your alley, dude. It's Interstellar. Go watch Interstellar.
It's got everything. It's got other beats. It's got conspiracy, right?
Yeah.
Because he didn't talk about planning and Plan B and all of that, right? Or whatever it was called. I mean, it's got all the elements. It's got rocket ships. It's got space shuttle. It's got a black hole. I mean, for Christ's sake, it's got a tsunami. I mean,
yeah, man.
It's a lot going on.
She's right. Like I like, even though all that stuff is my stuff, like I like more like action with it. You know what I mean? Like I like a little more like something that's gonna keep me like engaged with it. So I'm more into like the Marvel movies. And,
got it.
I could get into that too. I want to hold on before I forget. I wanted to ask you, Chelsea and Frank, a question. Going back into our earlier conversation, have any one of you ever had to, for lack of a better word, check a friend because of your age gap, or like a passive aggressive kind of comment that Chelsea, you're dating him, and not. I'm just talking about from an age standpoint, not from a racial standpoint. I'm just from an age standpoint.
Well, I've had both. I've had the racial thing too. Oh, big time. Yeah. And yeah. I mean, I had one time.
Go?
Oh no, you go first, and then I'll go. Yeah, it's all you. I'm paper. You threw the scissor.
Paper?
I'm paper.
Man, I got mad stories actually. But
so much.
There's a few of them that would kind of like resonate. Like I remember when we went to Roscoe's that day.
Yo,
we went to Roscoe's one time.
That was insane.
And this is like in the beginning of our relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So, and if you've been to Roscoe's, Roscoe's is one of those you just pull up, get to Roscoe's, you just eat real quick, get about your day, keep it moving, right?
Remember, there's 2 Roscoe's in LA. So this is not the trendy one in Hollywood that all the tourists go to. This is the real Roscoe's.
Right.
Oh, the real Roscoe's. I've never been to the real Roscoe's. I've only been to the trendy one. I've never been to the real one.
I think I went to the trendy one.
It's a difference.
Yeah. Pico Roscoe's is different. But that it kind of goes into the story that I'm about to tell, right?
Okay.
So me and her walk in, and we go see whatever. We were literally sitting in that restaurant for about 2 hours.
Minimum.
Bro. 2 hours, and only thing we got served were drinks. That was it. Like we literally walked in. We walked in. People that were sitting there already, they got up, left, replaced the table. Them people got up, ate, left. By the 3rd, 4th round of people that came out, I was like, yo, hold on, something ain't right here.
After they even finally took our order, they never came back with the food.
Right.
So we got up and left.
And that was after an hour. We sat there,
never brought it.
Came and took our order, then let us sit there for a whole nother hour and never even brought the food.
That's
so I was like, oh, something ain't right. So then I'm just like, fuck this. We out. We get up and walk. We walk out. She's like, what about the drinks? Like, I'm like, man, fuck them drinks. Like,
I think that.
That's the only time I've ever not paid for something. I felt so crazy, but in a way I felt so justified. And I was like, we're dining and dashing? Oh my God, I've never been.
We didn't even dine.
We didn't dine. Right. We just drank and dashed.
Yeah, I was about to say, y'all drank and dashed. I'll take it.
Yeah.
That's dope.
But even just like little stuff, just like more so with like the age different thing, is just like in the beginning, like my mom was like, I don't have kids. She has kids. I don't have kids. So
right.
First thing is just
and
like,
I'm done.
Right. So
what Caribbean island are you from?
Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
done. So we're clear.
I was actually the first person in my family born in America. So my whole family's from Jamaica.
Yeah, so I know they had a lot of Frank.
Definitely. A lot of so no grandkids, no grand picnic, no. Like, dog, like what you want from me? Like
were you protective of Chelsea when you introduced her to your mother and your family and you brought it back?
I mean, to this day I'm still protective of her because it's like, I don't know, I just always have that like that protective side of me. Like the people that are like closest to me that I care about.
He's a Leo.
I tend not to care about too many people.
You're a Leo. That's well.
So, like, I tend to
can sense it.
My like family and my cult.
Right.
So,
pride. His little line.
My pride. You know what I mean? So, like, every situation I feel like, even when she started going on Clubhouse, I felt like I needed to like protect her. Like I'll be like, yo, don't go in there and say that shit. Like don't go in there and do this. Like,
Chelsea, give me the phone. Give me the phone.
Demon time, stay out of the fucking demon time room. Like,
But not because he was concerned that I was going to do something nasty behind his back, but more because he was like, I want to protect you from that energy and from.
Yeah, for sure. I get it.
And I also know who I'm with. Like, I know, like, I'm with Chelsea Grayson. You know what I'm saying? So there's like, there's certain things that I know is like that might be looked a certain way, though you may not know it.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Me a lot from that.
I try to like save her from those little things. So it's like, I always feel like I need to protect her and just kind of like be her like shield for certain things. So there's more reason why I let her play the front a lot. I just kind of chill in the back, be the shadow, come and show when I need to.
But he always has even physically, like you'll never ever catch us walking down the sidewalk and he's not on the outside, on the street side. He'll
I used to get in trouble.
Hold on, Chelsea, because a lot of young folks, they don't get that. They don't get where a man's supposed to walk. Mm-hmm. So you gotta break it down of why he's supposed to be on the outside.
And this is me being transparent, not to cut you off. That was me too. I had to learn that. Like I had to learn that, where there is an etiquette to walking with your woman. There's an etiquette to how she feels protected in even in that space. As simple as that may seem, walking down the street, there is something there with that. And so yeah, explain that, Frank.
Yeah, I mean, like I was just saying, I'm Jamaican family. Like I have a matriarchy in my family, so it's like from my grandmother all the way down to like my moms to my aunts. Like they essentially like raised me in a sense. So they, from a little kid, like imagine a grown ass woman walking with a little kid and then making me walk on the street side. And then telling me this is why you need to walk on the street side, because I'm the woman, you're the man, and you need to protect me. And I'm like 8. You know what I'm saying? So, but
a lot of weight.
But but a lot of that stuff stuck with me all these years. Like everything she would say, it would always stick with me. So it'd be to the day, even with like just female friends I would have, I would just be like, yo, come over here.
And he'll physically stop us and move us like chess pieces. Like if it happens wrong, like for 1 second, he'll stop it and he'll move me. And I do feel protected. And I walk through the day, I've walked through my whole life. I mean, my parents obviously protected me and I had so much love in the house and all of that. But I mean, I've always been super alpha. I've always been in a male dominated world. I've always been, in a place where I've had to not be on the defense, be on the offense in order to get anything that I want, and so I don't have people defending me at all. And then you get to a place where people don't think you need defense because you are who you are, and they think, oh, she's of a certain stature and she acts so confident and strong all the time. She doesn't need defense. I do. And he's the only person that really kind of realized that. I need that. I like that. I like for him to be alpha like that in our relationship. I like to feel protected by him because it's the only time ever I can ever let my guard down, because the rest of the time I'm running shit with my kids, with my work, with my whatever it is, and I've always had to run it alone, so I love that part of our dynamic, that he's there. Like
I want to hear the part where you G-check another woman for questioning the age gap between you and Frank, because you said you had a story also.
It's kind of a funny story because there's a bunch of them. People always comment on it or whatever. But there's a girlfriend of mine, one of my best friends. I absolutely love her to death, and but she's like judgmental until it suits her not to be judgmental. And this is exactly that story. So, we got together and she was just like, there was a racial thing here too. Although probably if I ever said this story to her, she'd be like, wait, what? I didn't mean it like that. But she, just like right from the beginning, she was just like, oh, that's going to be a toy for you. I know that's not serious. Cause I had come off a series of, I've been divorced for, I don't know, 11 or 12 years at this point or whatever it is, so I did a lot of dating in there, and I didn't date anybody like Frank in the sense that like, they were all sort of like age appropriate or much older than me, which is just the worst, but it's just like, that's a whole other podcast.
Yeah. You got bored. You got bored.
Yeah.
Okay.
Physical issues that really older men have, but just like in a completely different stature in life. And so when I got to Frank, she more than anybody was like, he's just a toy for you right now. You just need this right now. You need some really good dick, or I'm sorry to be so crude, but like, that's kind of like how she said it. She was just like, and he's super cool. And I totally get, we can all have a really good time, but I know that's not the serious thing for you because of his age. And then she got a divorce and she started dating a 30-year-old, and she's exactly my age. And now all of a sudden, now all of a sudden, 5 years later, they're in a full-on relationship, and it's perfectly cool. So, and she kind of like sees how, wow, you could actually really have this sort of a deep connection with somebody. And it really doesn't matter what their age is, it just kind of matters where their soul is. But
you've been a trendsetter.
Yeah, I guess.
I was just saying, we were watching some podcasts earlier, but they were talking about I'm pretty sure you want to talk about the whole Jack Dorsey deal with Hov.
Yeah.
We were talking about it, and I was just kept saying, I'm like, damn, everybody loves talking about Jack Dorsey now. I was like, this is your fault. And she was like, well, I was like, yeah, all these famous ass CEOs now, you started this shit.
It used to not be that. It used to shareholders. It's so much easier. Like, it's much more accessible to the marketplace, to shareholders now, to find out who's on the board of the company, who's the CEO, what's their story. A lot of CEOs have a social media presence, and it didn't used to be that way. It started very recently within the last 7 to 10 years, where it really matters now. And you can be fired as a CEO because you've denigrated the brand because of something that you did in your personal life, or some sort of stand you took. So
yeah.
By the way, that same friend though, should I tell this is the racial part of that story just to finish it? Because that same exact friend, she actually had a split with her young guy for a moment. And so I knew that she was maybe ready to get set up with somebody. So I called her, and I was setting her up with an old white Jewish guy, because she's like an old white Jewish lady like me, and this is just somebody who seemed like it was going to be a good match for her. And I didn't tell you this story. But I did tell you, because I thought you'd be super irked and never want to hang out with her again.
Well, hold on. I don't want to tell her if that's going to be is this still present now? Because I don't want to do that now. So
no, it's fine. She would laugh if she heard the story. Actually, I think she'd laugh too. But so I called her up and I was like, yeah, like, I have somebody I want to set you up with. And she was like, no, like, I don't want to be set up with some like black guy with a bunch of chains who's like affiliated with like whatever. And I was like, first of all, what would be the problem with that? And I'm like, and second of all, like, what the hell? Like, what would be the problem with that? And like, but I knew she was only saying it, but I was like, why? But people do get it in their heads that if you're doing a certain thing, that's how you're going to do every single thing. And how they feel about that thing or not is on them, but they feel like they see one particular thing and that's going to be the trend all the way throughout. So there was no way I was calling to set her up with some Jewish white guy, right?
Yeah.
And that's by the way, like you look at Frank, like that's not even him. He's not like rocking a bunch of chains. Like that was just, it was such a weird, crazy stereotype. I was like, how are you coming out with this all of a sudden? I've known you since I was 14. I've never heard her say something like that. It was just like a weird reaction in the moment.
I've kind of always gone my whole life being like the book that's not the cover.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you walk into a room, they assume you're one way until they talk to you, and then they're like, "Oh, snap." I'm like, "Yeah, bro, I went to private school. Like, I don't know what you're talking about." Like,
yeah. I'm the same way. I feel like that's why I struggle at times, and even in entertainment, I feel like I'm too professional. Yet I'm too, for lack of a better word,
for professionals.
Yeah. And so it's a weird mix. But I'm educated. You know what I'm saying? I went to private schools. I've done all of that stuff. I have degrees. Like, you know what I mean? But I think it's a weird balance just in what we do in media, that sometimes you got to be super, super professional, and sometimes you just got to be with the shits. It's a time and a place. It's a time and a place.
I feel like right now more than ever though, it's like the perfect time for people like us, like where we're like that middle. Like J. Cole would say, like that middle child, like
100%.
We're not hood enough for the gangsters, but we're not corporate enough for the professionals. We kind of like are in that middle ground.
Build our own lane. Yeah.
Right now, it's kind of like I'm a little low key Bible thumper, but it's like the meek shall inherit the earth. You know what I mean? It's like now we're like the meek of the people coming in, taking over this new post-COVID life that you're talking about.
Yep. So you definitely get what I'm saying. Because that's what I'm saying. That's like, exactly what I'm saying.
This is like almost our time to kind of like capitalize on it. It's like you can drop the ball or you're not, but it's like for every true hustler, is like another little saying I say. For every true hustler, if you never took a risk, you're not a hustler.
Yeah.
So this is the time to take your risk and try to make something for yourself now. And if you don't do it, it's kind of like it tells you. For me, right, it tells me a lot about the people that ain't doing it right now.
Or are we going to mess it up again? Because if this really was a reset, are we just, because people are kind of a little bit going back to their old ways before, so did we learn lessons? I mean, yes, we did switch presidents. Great. That was one really amazing thing that happened. And maybe that was the reason why the universe gave us that pandemic, right? To your point earlier, but what are we going to do with this next term? Or is this just an interim term to get us to the next step? And I mean, I don't know. What are we going to change? Are we going to take advantage of the reset? Yeah. I'm with you, Jeff. I'm sort of a cynic, so I think.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, we if we're being, I try to be optimistic, but I'm a cynic when it comes to that as well. I don't see this changing.
I think we will. I think the people that will take advantage of it will take advantage of it. The people that won't. And it's gonna be no different than how life was before. The people that are gonna be lit are still gonna be lit. The people that aren't. And then it is what it is. We're just gonna have a new crop of people that are lit and a new crop of people that ain't shit.
Well, I agree with you. And it's also like you have to watch the way it's gonna trend, right? Because the sort of amazing part of that title deal actually that you just raised is the board seat. Right, the square board seat.
But that's all I'm looking at. That's the biggest thing for me.
That's the big thing. The money was less, like that's kind of like he can use that for toilet paper probably in terms of the percentage of that he got, because all the other artists got a chunk of that too, right? So
it's that board seat. That's the biggest play.
That board seat is the biggest play ever.
But we talk about this all the time. Now I have my own opinions about this that I don't really want to get into, but I mean, on the other hand, Kanye doesn't sit on the Adidas board. So you have to, that's what I mean by watching trends.
Which I have my own opinion.
I have my own opinion about it too. But anyways, it's not to get into, so there could be a whole bunch of logical reasons. But so one person gets the board seat, the other person doesn't. What is that related to? I don't know. It can't be revenue generation, because for sure Yeezy is generating a fuck ton of revenue, right? For Adidas, right? Versus whatever title's going to make for Square, right? That bought them. I don't know what dollars that translates to right away. So what were the powers that be thinking about? Why did that happen and the other board seat doesn't happen? Is that something that we can see that's going to happen more? Are people going to demand that if their company is bought, they're going to get that board seat? That is the way it's done in traditional M&A.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that seemed familiar to me, but I'll be really interested in seeing as this stuff moves forward, who gets to be in the boardroom, who doesn't, because really the world is controlled by corporate American boardrooms.
Right.
100%.
That kind of goes into what you were just saying before, where it's like the words still kind of matter right now.
Mm-hmm.
So Kanye ain't gonna get into a boardroom right now because his words aren't matching the actions right now.
Yep.
Isn't he on the board of Gap?
No, absolutely.
Okay. I just
He's too erratic. He's too erratic.
No, he was complaining about it. Yeah.
And I think like Kanye West, he should be on the board of a Gap. He should be on the board of Adidas.
I agree too. He's proven. He's proven.
We saw the CEO of Adidas on Squawk Alley, I guess, the other day.
Yeah.
And they specifically asked him at the end of the interview, are you going to put Kanye West on your board? Because there's been a lot of conversation about that.
He tiptoed around that.
He danced. He really did. He was like, well, we're a European company. Okay, true. Right. He said European shareholders are different. True. Think that the corporate governance works differently out there. I'm just I'm the CEO. I don't have that much power. Okay, fine. All of that is fine and well and good. But he does have sway. If he wanted somebody on his board, the board does listen to the CEO. When the CEO says, I've got somebody I think would be really incredible, the board will listen to that. The shareholders don't have to make that vote. They only make that vote once a year when proxy time comes around, So you could put somebody on the board until they get, validated by the... It didn't ring true perfectly with me, so I don't know.
I just worry about them giving Jerry Lorenzo a board seat before they give Kanye one. Now that Jerry Lorenzo's over there.
Yeah, I honestly,
Jerry Lorenzo's gonna get one either. But
yeah, I was about to say I don't think he's gonna get one either. I don't think he's getting one. I don't,
because if they're not gonna give it to Kanye, they have no validation why they would give it to anybody else.
Yeah.
So at this point, they really shot themselves in the foot. And to me, if you're not gonna take your biggest revenue earner and put him in a high position where he feels like I want to keep generating this revenue for you, what do you think is going to happen?
But didn't Kanye release information from his record deal? He put a contract on Twitter.
Yeah,
that was him, right? Mm-hmm. So if I'm sitting on the board, I can't imagine.
Oh yeah.
Him seeing confidential agreements and other business particulars, and then he goes on one of his tirades or rants, or he's upset on Monday.
But he's more for Adidas than anybody else.
Yeah, but that's
more for Adidas than Run DMC.
Okay. But I can't have you just spewing out information because you're angry instead of just calling.
That's a proprietary thing. Like so, so what they're saying.
I'm glad you said it.
Yeah, so that's so for me, honestly, as a business owner, if you start to go doing some shit like that where you're releasing NDA information or proprietary information or anything that is damaging to the company or could cripple the company, if I am a potential hiree, I guess. I would be a little apprehensive to just go rush at Kanye, and that's only just because of his behavior. I think if you strip that away and everything that he's been through, and we just look at the metric of performance, there's no reason why he shouldn't be there. Like,
so how did Jay-Z move and prove himself to be less volatile so that they were super confident in sticking him on that board?
Jay-Z is quiet.
Jay-Z's quiet.
He's extremely quiet and private.
That's one thing.
That's the difference.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
One's quiet and one's not quiet. So the quiet person is going to get the board seat, and that's that's the trajectory you're going to see going forward. The quiet, powerful ones are going to be in the quiet, powerful position.
Exactly what I was saying earlier, right? So we still have to sort of watch that stuff. You still have to move in a way where they want you in that room, and they don't feel like you're going to create such a disruption in the boardroom that business can't be done. Yeah.
I feel like this is an ever-going conversation.
If they don't put them on the board, so
it is. I want to before we get out of here, because I feel like we've been holding you guys hostage for so long. What can we expect from you guys, Frank? I'm definitely when you touch down in New York, I want to work out with you. Pause, and not because I want to have sex with you. I just want to work out with you.
You said the same thing to me.
And I never hit on you, Jeff. Come on, stop.
I know.
You're not as type, Jeff.
Stand in line. Stand in line. I'm married to the guy, and I can't get a workout with him. So I don't know.
Well,
yeah, I'm moving around a lot, man. But definitely, I get over there. We're gonna make something.
We'll catch up. We have a thing here on the show where you guys are part of the family. So we'll stalk you as normal. We'll support you in anything that you guys do. All jokes aside, I think y'all's story is just amazing. Now, even hearing all of these other little stories, I just think y'all are crazy in a good way. Like, it really gives me some hope. So thank you guys for coming on the show and just shedding light and just being you guys. Don't ever change. Like, whatever you guys are doing, even though you may feel like it's not perfect or it's not there, whatever you're doing, you have a glow to you guys. So don't change that. That's all I ask. Whatever y'all doing, just stay the course. That's all I want. And we'll be cheering and picking your brains and also sending sci-fi and all types of shit you guys' way to hear what you guys think about it.
Oh, definitely. I'm with all that, man.
I have to turn that back around to you though, Brandon, because you are also a star. I mean, I think you and I kind of bonded right away on that stage, on the Go to Hell stage. And it sounds really crazy to call it that, but I don't know what. I
know, right?
It's the Go to Hell stage. But anyways, but yeah, I mean, and you established such an authentic connection with everybody in there. And so it was absolutely natural and so easy for me to respond when you said you wanted to have us on, because I see the same thing for you. I see a really beautiful, and for everybody up here, but I happen to know Brandon. Yeah. But I see such a good future for you. We've talked offline, and you have an extremely diligent way about you behind the scenes.
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna stop.
He does.
Very thoughtful. Your brain your wheels are spinning all the time. So I just want to turn back around and compliment you on that. I really admire you for that.
And my one little rose I can give you, but my brief interactions with you, you're a very organized dude, man. And I admire that. Like, as someone trying to
If I'm being honest, if I'm being completely,
you know how to make it look good. Then
we're getting some side looks over here.
listen. This podcast, this year I think for all of us, especially, I'm gonna make sure all of we're about transparency this year. This year we're about transparency, about teaching, we're about a number of things. And so, with that said, I'm not the most organized. It's why I have typos. It's why. It's why I honestly rely on these guys. Like, literally all of them on here, specifically my assistants, Chris and Tone. Like, literally, I call them, hey, I need this. They don't argue, they don't beef, they get it, just because they know it's a way for Brandon to avoid typos. It's a way for Brandon to be organized. So as strong as I am and all that we do, I really, 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 and y'all gonna see it this year to the audience and to viewership, new and old. I'm really for team, and you guys will see a lot more from these gentlemen this year, outside of me, because I do believe, outside of my own personal shit, that you can't get all. I wouldn't be able to do all of this in one day. Record, take notes, think. A lot of people don't realize how difficult it is to actually have a conversation in this space, especially both of you, Chelsea and Frank, being in some form of media, even on Clubhouse. You know how exhausting that can be. So, yeah, I take the compliments, but I rely on my guys. I honestly just rely on my team. These guys, like, just like right now, when I messed up the wording, the first person that I knew would do it would be Nas. The first person that I knew that would check the Kanye shit, if ever I'm wrong, it's Wylson. If I'm ever wrong about anything out of this world, that middle guy right there, Jeff with the funny hair, he's one of the most brilliant people I know in this world. Seriously. I'm honored to be on the stage with these guys and with you. So I don't really take compliments well, so that's why I'm bestowing them on someone else.
You know what? Here's how you do it.
Relate to that.
You just say,
I'm horrible with that.
Somebody gives you a
Like
compliment.
I'm cringing right now. I'm shaking right now.
There is the art of the compliment, the art of taking a compliment. And it's just, thank you. I'm really glad you noticed that. I've worked really hard on it. I appreciate the compliment. I receive it with love. And you can always turn it back to them and give them another compliment back. And let me tell you the reason.
Yeah, like Chelsea, I fucking hate you. I can't do that. Like,
who would have thought of saying that in the moment?
Yeah, like
you'd be like,
Chelsea's a grandmaster in the life of chess.
No, let me tell you why you need to practice the art of taking a compliment. And then we'll go, because sorry, we've been talking your ear off. But the reason is people that are giving you a compliment usually also have a critique, whether they say it to you or not. They also have a critique. So they're giving you the good. They might then also say, but here's where your flaw is, or here's where you could do better, or I'm going to give you some criticism. Let's talk about it in like your annual performance review context or something like that, right? If you don't make sure that you accept the compliment and dwell on it for a bit in the conversation, you just brush past it. Oh, no, or that was teamwork, or, oh God, that's whatever, like that's just nothing, and you just brush it off. Now they're going to be focusing, they're going to be remembering that conversation just for the flaw that they pointed out, just for the critique. You want the main memory of that conversation to have been the good shit they thought and said about you. So if you dwell on the compliment part, the critique part is a distant memory.
Got it.
Always walk away making sure that people are feeling positive about you rather than remembering the criticism. You correct that. Life is a theater. Life is a theater. It's all a theater production, and you're in a one-man show. You're not just the actor. You're the director, the producer, the lighting technician, the sound technician. You better shine that spotlight right on yourself, and you better be at the exact mark when it shines. Otherwise, that's a bad show.
Yeah.
You guys.
What you were saying too is like it's a testament to like your team. It's like in a sense, like even if you're not the most organized person, you have the team around you to make it look so. So it's like part of having a good situation around you is the team. I think most of it is having 100%.
Yeah.
And especially being in my situation now, I'll talk about it really quick. Nutrizone, company I started where I'm from in New York, and we worked with all the street athletes in New York City, from Orchard Beach to Hoops and Sun basketball tournament to the EBC Rucker Park basketball tournaments, Dykeman. I don't know if I'm pretty sure y'all know him.
Yeah, I know about everything. Yeah.
And now we're working with a semi-pro football team in Mount Vernon, the Mount Vernon Bangers. Okay. So we're working with a lot of like the pro or like soon to be pro or ex-pro athletes in New York, and doing a lot of their sports medicine and rehabilitation stuff, post workouts, all that. And now, actually last year, what I spent a lot of time doing was working with kids. And a lot of the kids in Mount Vernon and the Bronx I'm working with now, I come out and do a workout. We get 100+ kids that come out, and we're doing boot camps and workouts for them, especially since they weren't in school this year. We were doing like summer camp for them in a sense, and like gym class for them, and just like coming out, we bring out financial advisors to talk to them. And we had Bobby
That's
Porter.
Fire. I love that.
We talked to him one time. We had
and he really likes this too.
Can you send me that? I want to share that on my page. Y'all know I love kids. I've worked with kids. I have a bunch of things I want to do around kids. Send me that.
Definitely. I got a lot of footage.
Send me that, please. I would really love to share that. Anything when it comes to financial literacy or just making kids a little bit more sound, I'm always for that shit. So definitely send that to me.
100%.
Right. And it's kind of like I wanted to take my rightful position in the freedom movement for us. And I wanted to take my lane in the health and fitness department and make sure that like all of us are good, no matter what. Like we can talk about stocks, we can talk about music, we can talk about all this for as long as we want, but our health is number one. And if we can't live long enough to even enjoy all the stuff that we building up right now, then what are we doing it for? So I want to take my position to make sure that I prioritize everyone, especially our community, our health and all that other stuff. So Mount Vernon Made, I love that right there. So I should hold on real quick.
Here we go. There's their Mount Vernon moment. Go ahead, go get it.
I gotta tell him this, right? Because you know Ben Gordon.
Yeah,
Ben Gordon's my homie, like one of my OGs. Like
his personal photographer is my cousin Jihad.
I know Jihad. So
that's my cousin. Yeah.
I actually just got his high school jersey. I got it remade.
Oh, that's dope.
And I've been walking around my hood with everybody like, yo, you got B's jersey? How you get it?
That's BG, man.
No, I'm like, yo, chill. But yeah, I say all that to say I got all that footage and all that other stuff working with the kids and all that. And that's where the LA part of it comes in, because now that we're headquartered in 2 cities, in New York and here, and this is where the media side comes of it now. And I'm starting up Nutrizone TV. Well, started Nutrizone TV, and working with a bunch of different trainers and highlighting them and giving trainers and fitness professionals their platform to promote their independent businesses. So they don't have to rely on going to a Equinox or a 24-hour fitness or a LA Fitness or something like that to try to grow their businesses. They can do it digitally from their home.
So fucking smart.
However they do
That's
it.
dope.
And then to have me there for like production value and like making sure that's good, writing treatments, putting
that is so
together,
fucking
that's
smart.
Where my interest kind of lies. I have like me and my homeboy, we started a record company back in the day. Like, you know what I mean? We were shooting video, doing all that stuff. My interest kind of relies on that, but I was never really an artist. I never really wanted to get behind the mic and rap and all that shit. I was more of like the artistic view. So I'm taking that and translating it into like health and fitness now.
That's what's up. Yo, if you got any apparel, man, I want to buy it, man. So
Yes.
Well, yeah, I'm wearing some of it right now, wearing this. And one of my other homeboys, Randy, he's from Sedgwick Ave in the Bronx. He started his company, Ran by Kids. He made his son the CEO.
That's what's up.
Fire.
CEO of the company, but he made it like a clothing company.
Let me tell you.
Generational wealth, man.
Yeah, and Frank is also the epitome of that phrase, when the water rises, all boats float. You can see, like, he's supporting all of his people, and he has all these, he always like interweaves all of his network into whatever he's doing.
I mean, I want to make a business around promoting other people, because I was never really the type for self-promotion or like I want to be like in front of the camera. I was more of like you know my man, or you know my wife, like she's fire, like, you know what I'm saying, or So I'm more of like that kind of person. So I'm like, I want to make like a business around that where I can highlight people, especially people that I like and respect, and that's where we are now. I have small staff around me of people, but we're growing to something big, and I like the projection that we're heading for. So
that's what's up, man.
Look out, man. There's gonna be some stuff you're gonna see. You just on TV and cabs. That's my.
Oh no, we gonna get an interview. You guys are coming back on. You separately, and I want to talk about it. Like anything like that. Like I'm saying, that type of shit is important to me. This is a growth year, and this is a learning year and a teaching year, especially for anyone here.
Yeah.
So
you still have to have him on to talk about cannabis.
That's what I'm saying. There's a lot to talk about.
I've
There's
been
a lot
invested in that. I've been buying them stocks.
But that's what I'm saying. This podcast could really go long. Frank is in mad shit. Like he's doing health and fitness. He's fucking in the marijuana business. Like there's so many different avenues. That's what I'm saying. I really just would love to do a part 2 of this. Honestly,
we could do.
You should have me on the Friday room, man. Y'all should have me in there. Have me on stage.
But that's what I'm saying. Like.
Yeah, the men's room.
Oh, the men's room? Yo, I haven't been in there yet though.
Let's just fly out to LA.
Oh no,
let's do it.
Listen, I gotta be up there.
Yo, I've got 500,000 miles. Like I'm down.
I'm down too.
I've never been to LA, so I'm with it.
Wait, you've never been to LA?
Wait.
No.
How is that possible?
Just never been. I've been everywhere else: Oregon, Washington, Vegas, Arizona.
I'm learning.
He said, "I've been to Oregon, Washington, Arizona, Mexico. I've been to Wyoming with
Vermont.
Never been to LA.
Hold on, so I didn't know that. We have to take a trip to LA. I didn't know you've never been to LA.
I've never been to LA either.
I'll get my neutral color.
I've never had a reason to go.
Yeah, I'll get my neutral colors.
It's official. Road trip to fucking Chelsea and Frank's.
I'm
That's
with
what we're doing.
Do it.
That's what we're doing.
I'm with it.
100%.
And it's barbecue season, so it's like.
And I could cook, and I can teach you recipes, Chelsea, so that Frank will be. This is full circle. I can cook.
But I'm vegan though, so you got.
Yeah.
No, I make vegan dishes too. I got mad shit for you. Trust me, I can make mad shit.
We lit. We on it.
He eats.
It's not Hollywood talk.
No, this is not Hollywood talk.
I apologize to him when I cook every night. I'm like, I'm really sorry, babe, but he eats like every single thing that I cook. It's crazy.
She's not Bobby Flay, but she can cook. Like she's underselling herself.
All right.
Yeah, definitely. We gotta link up soon.
Yo, Sid, put the LA behind me, man.
Yeah, put the LA behind us. We are going to LA. This is when Martin went to go visit Varnell Hill on the Varnell Hill show. It's just that we're actually going to be on the show because it's our show and you guys are going to be the guests. But
Chelsea's going to dead us. Chelsea and Frank going to dead us. Like, man, that was Hollywood talk. I didn't think y'all were coming out.
You know what?
Wait, the one main question, my number one question, right? Do you smoke?
I cannot.
Go ahead.
I cannot.
We're gonna have a great time then.
I'll be in the room.
Chris and Jeff, we're just gonna hang out. Y'all on your own, man.
You guys be careful because literally, like the way his weed, how he rolls, like I mean, the whole thing, you will be on your ass. You're not gonna be able to keep up, so just don't try.
And she used to say that, and I'd be like, "Yo, you don't know what you're talking about." Like,
well, I don't smoke.
And then other people start saying that. I was like, "Oh, do I have a problem?" Like,
You do. Frank has never got high.
Do I?
Frank smokes to get right, like to get even. Like he's like start the day in a deficit, and then he smokes together.
Yo, when I tell
to LA we go.
I've changed my stance on everything. I told we told the brief cocaine story, how I learned about cocaine and how normalized that is. I've changed my stance on.
I have a coke story too. What's your coke story?
Well, she's not leaving until she. Brandon, we heard you.
Sorry, we could end.
Yeah,
I know you guys have to go, but
I was about to say.
Like, wait, coke story? Let me hear that.
Yeah, last episode we told a cocaine story about my first. We're definitely gonna do a part 2 to this. I'm certain, and it's gonna be in LA. I'm certain in LA we will be out there and we're gonna cook. I want to see the plants. I want to do everything, and we're gonna have a fucking amazing time. So, Chelsea and Frank, literally, I love you guys. Obviously, I love you guys. I think you guys are amazing. I appreciate you guys. I love the conversation. And we will be back. To the audience and listeners, please go follow them. Give your social media handles too, by the way, so people can follow you guys.
I'm at First Class Frank, #1 ST Class Frank. That's my personal page. I really don't care if you follow that one or not. What I really care about is at NutriZoneNet. NutriZoneNet.
Yes.
Right? That's the one I really care about. I want everybody going there. I got some really cool stuff, like put workouts on there every day, nutritional facts, recipes for for day-to-day cooking, meal prep, anything like that. So a lot of like the stuff that I talk about and care about is on there. Right? If you just kind of want to see me and Chelsea kind of post up every once in a while, then you can follow me on my personal page.
We don't do it a lot.
I know.
We really don't. And I'm just Chelsea Grayson. If you just put that in, that's where I am.
Your Twitter's 24 Scorpio, right?
So I'm never on Twitter. I just created that so I could have a link if somebody needed a Twitter link. But anything that happens on Twitter is just a byproduct of because I hit the button on Instagram, which says share it on Twitter also.
Yeah.
Hey, Scorpio.
Oh, of course I'm a Scorpio. Scorpio too? What's your birthday?
They're both Scorpios.
November 4th.
November 4th.
Mm-hmm. November 10th.
October 24th. So that's the other thing. And is anybody a lefty on here?
I'm ambidextrous.
I'm a lefty also.
I was about to say Tony's gonna be her man. I can see it. Tony's gonna be her man. I can see it.
We run the world, baby.
Do you? You don't even have scissors for yourself. What are you talking about?
Chill.
I can't cut for shit. That's true. I cannot cut.
The left corium.
I have other people cutting things for me. Thank you. I hired cutters.
You got to go to the left.
I see. Oh, my bad.
Listen, I was about to say Chelsea's a boss. Go follow these beautiful people. We want to thank you guys. Be sure to subscribe. Hit the notification button. Be notified for our latest to the greatest episode. As well as always, get in tune, get down, and join our Discord where we talk about gaming, stocks, culture, and everything in between. If you guys have any feedback, comments, or concerns, please be sure to hit the comments. Ask these people questions. They're amazing, and you can ask us some questions. And also let us know what you think about our alien theories and whether you think we're batshit or not. We really don't care. I am Brandon Killabh Hall.
I am the regular Nas.
I am Wylson.
Jeff.
All right.
But we never get it right.
Hey, there we go. Frank Jackson.
That's how we end it. All right. And as always, Chris, Tone, Civ, Jeff, thank you guys. And we are out. Peace.